Joining me now is a special guest from Israel. We are joined by Ambassador Maya Kadosh, senior Israeli diplomat, currently serving as national coordinator for COP28 in the Israeli Foreign Ministry. She, in fact, has served as deputy chief of mission at the Israeli embassy here in India. Ma'am, first and foremost, my heartfelt condolences over the unimaginable loss of lives that's happened in Israel. All of us, including here in India, have been watching with horror what's unfolded in your country. I know many in Israel have said this is our 9/11. How would you describe, ma'am, the events of the last 3 days?
First of all, thank you for your words of condolences. All the support we can get now is highly appreciated, and really thank you. I would describe it, I think, for the Indian audience as 26 November. Um, it was a surprise. We never thought that such magnitude of attack can happen to our civilians. We've been through a few rounds of rockets and missiles from Gaza. We know that we are neighbors for a terror organization, but we've never experienced something like we are experiencing now. The news are horrible, the numbers are horrible. The fact that children, elderly, handicapped people are involved is heartbreaking. The stories that you hear about the cruelty um, are unimaginable. And also, at the same time, the heroes that were there, that fought for the life of their families, are inspiring.
I can imagine. It's been described as a massacre on an unprecedented scale, and that's exactly what it has been. The fact that Hamas says that more than 100 Israelis are even being held hostage in Gaza as we speak. That must be a huge concern and source of fear, not just for the families, but for all of Israel. How hopeful are you, ma'am, that those people can be brought back home safely?
Very hopeful. I'm sure that all of them will be brought back home safely. We put Hamas in charge of their life. I don't know what kind of cruel animal people will take into hostage babies without their parents and elderly people and women. But I know that we won't rest until the last of them will be home.
Well, most certainly, that is exactly what Prime Minister Netanyahu has also said. But, ma'am, at a point like this, I know this is an impossibly difficult time for Israel. But, questions are being asked. And one of the biggest questions that's being asked is just how could an intelligence failure on such an unimaginably massive scale take place, given how strong Israel's security and intelligence apparatus are widely believed to be, with both Shin Bet and Mossad. Was there absolutely no credible intelligence available that something as huge as this was being plotted right in Israel's backyard?
Obviously, as far as we know, we didn't have any intel on that. I think many people ask themselves a lot of questions. There will be time to discuss all these issues, and as we speak now, already process of understanding what happened and investigating and learning from these mistakes is happening as we speak now. But it's way too early to say anything of real about it.
Too early to say anything. What do you think, ma'am, are the biggest lessons from this extremely tragic episode for Israel and indeed for other countries like India? Like you mentioned, we have been victims of horrific terror attacks in this country, including the 26/11 Mumbai attacks. What really do you think are the biggest lessons for you, for us, for all of us?
I think the important lessons that terror doesn't different between anyone. They don't care about what's the nationality, who are the people. We know about non-Israelis that have been killed, about foreign citizens. They don't care if it's babies, if it's elderly. They are cruel and mean, and we need to fight them with all our power, everything we can do to stop terror all over the world. That this is not something that is unique to Israel or India or the United States. This is something that the whole world needs to stand united together to fight terror. That's one thing. The other thing I think is believe in the human spirit. I think if one thing I can say today in Israel, I see that even after this horrific attack, people are standing in line to go to duty, to their reserve duties. People are standing in line to go back to their bases and fight. People are lining to donate blood, to supply food to the families that have been evacuated. Everyone in this country is doing something. Even the younger children are helping even younger children than themselves. And the human spirit will win.
Well, absolutely. We certainly believe the human spirit will win. Before I ask you some of my other questions, ma'am, would you be able to confirm for us the latest death toll? Because unfortunately, the numbers have been going up.
The last I saw, it's 706 confirmed, but we know that this is not the last number. We expect to have, unfortunately, more people dead. It takes time. Some of the bodies are cannot be recognized because the abuse they've been through, and we want to make sure that we recognize each one. And it's a process that will take a little bit more time. And as soon as we know, we will release the numbers and the names.
Absolutely. We've seen those horrific images of bodies piling up on the streets, and of course, as you said, the barbarity that a lot of people, women, children, and the elderly have been subjected to has been absolutely heartbreaking. Um, you know, uh, would you say that the people of Israel are today perhaps living in more fear than ever before? Has it, in a sense, dealt a huge blow, to their confidence, sense of safety?
I think people are trying to do their best. They, first of all, have full faith in the government and in the IDF. And that is very important because that reduces a lot of the fear. If you know that your government and your army are going to do the right thing, so you feel much safer. People are very alerted, obviously, and it's a good thing because we still assume there's terrorists running around, that we didn't catch all of them. So people should be aware, should be careful, should stay safe, should stay in their houses if they don't have to leave. But it's not a fear that stops them from acting. And it's not the story of the Israeli society. The Israeli society as a society is very strong.
They're brave people. Absolutely. There is no doubt about that. But obviously, this is a time of an unprecedented tragedy, really, for your country. Ma'am, I know you said that there will come a time when we are going to look into what went so horribly wrong. But, I just need to do my duty as a journalist. So I'm going to ask you this question. There are some who believe that domestic political upheaval may have, to some extent, been a trigger for Hamas to unleash these unprecedented attacks on Israel. Do you believe that may have been a contributing factor? Some are wondering
Please,
if the Netanyahu
please,
government.
please don't repeat this assumption. This is fake news. It's coming. We can see that it's coming from overseas. We can see it's a targeted attack on Israel to weaken the Israeli society. In no way, no way. This is all fake news. There was no source inside the Israeli army or the security system. And I highly suggest that news outlets won't repeat this. And won't play to the hands of those who want to hurt us.
I was just saying that a lot of people have said in the last couple of days that Iran is actually the one that orchestrated these attacks and supported Hamas and all of this. Is that your belief too, ma'am?
Yeah, we have all base to believe that Iran is behind this. You see that it's very well funded, the people are well trained. this is not resources that a terror organization can get by itself. So we know Iran was involved. How deeply, how closely, it's yet to be checked.
You believe there is no doubt that Iran is involved and Hamas could not have done this on its own, because yes, the magnitude and the sophistication with which the attacks were carried out, I think, has taken the whole world by surprise. 5,000 rockets being fired in 20 minutes, at least that's the claim by Hamas. Ma'am, apart from Hamas, Hezbollah and the Islamic Jihad are also now part of the offensive against Israel. Is it now turning into, in a sense, a two front war for Israel with both Hamas and Hezbollah?
We want the Hezbollah to stay out of this war. I don't think they want to try the Israeli army. Having said that, we have forces the north of Israel. We evacuated a lot of the villages over the northern area. We are ready for this option. We really hope that our neighbors won't choose this, but we are getting prepared for that.
Okay. Now, I know, ma'am, this is all within this realm of speculation right now. But do you have reason to believe that Hamas could have carried out these attacks on Israel primarily with the purpose of sabotaging improving ties between Israel and Saudi Arabia, as has been suggested by many?
I heard this. They say that they are planning this for over 2 years. So I don't think terror organization need a reason to hurt their target. They can come with that reason, this reason, on that day or this day, but in the end of the day, it's the story of hate against Israel. It's the willingness to destroy Israel, and it could happen now with Saudi Arabia or without it. That's what I believe, that they don't need any reason.
They're terrorists, they don't need any reason. Um, what would you say to those? And I'm only playing the devil's advocate here, ma'am. What would you say to those who argue that the Israeli government's resettlement efforts in Gaza significantly aggravated tensions in the region?
If you look at Gaza, we withdraw from Gaza fully. We even took out the citizens from Gaza, not only the army. Hamas took over violently, and it since then kept doing terror attacks against Israel, rocket missiles, every chance they had. Again, as I said, they don't need a reason to hurt Israel. That's their own sole purpose of existence.
That is the sole purpose of their existence, you say. Ma'am, there are also concerns that there have been and will be mass civilian casualties in Gaza too, as Israel continues with its retaliatory strikes. Many of these Hamas terrorists are actually holed up in residential areas in Gaza. How would you address those concerns?
Um, as you said, Hamas is a cruel organization not only against Israel but also against its own citizens. You know that in the social media, a lot of times they use Free Gaza hashtag. And I say to them, you know what, free Gaza, but not from Israel, from Hamas. The fact that Hamas as a terror organization is hiding in buildings, that hero terrorists are hiding behind children and babies is their fault. They brought this upon themselves, and this is very unfortunate. And I'm very sad for. We have nothing against the people of Gaza themselves. We sure they want to live quiet life, that they want to be prosperous as everyone else. But the fact that a terror organization is there, that is hiding in schools, in buildings, in hospitals, in mosques, place of prayers, that brings this destination upon them.
Okay, I know Prime Minister Netanyahu has said we are at war. What we are witnessing currently is a massive counteroffensive. Just a short while ago, I think Israel declared that there's now a complete siege of Gaza underway. Is Israel likely to launch a full scale war on Gaza? Could we see it reaching those unprecedented levels given how high tensions are right now?
all the options are on the table. I think that will be discussed in our cabinet and in the government. It's of course not my decision, but all the options are on the table now.
All options are on the table. A couple of questions, ma'am, before we let you go. As you know, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed full support and solidarity with the people of Israel. As I mentioned earlier, India has been a victim of terror for a long time now. We had 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks. Parallels have been drawn with that. Parallels have also been drawn with 9/11. What do you feel about the global response to these attacks on Israel so far? And what are your expectations from the international community at a time like this?
We expect the international community to support Israel's right to defend itself, even when hard pictures and photos will start coming out from Gaza. We want this government to remember who initiated these attacks, that it was unprovoked. Of course, in this point in time, many of the world leaders, most of the world leaders support Israel, and we expect that to continue.
Okay. Um, any specific details that you can share with us, ma'am, about the support that's coming in from the United States? We believe that military aircraft and naval warships have already been sent. A lot of ammunition is on its way. Of course, the US has said we solidly stand with our ally Israel. Could you share more details with us?
It's the same as you said. We have ammunition coming from the U.S. We have the total support of the government, of the president. We have declaration of support of many of the Congress and Senate. I think the U.S. stands by Israel in all its power and all its abilities in every front you can think of.
Ma'am, you've served as Deputy Chief of Mission here in India. Anything particular you would want to say to India and to the Indian government led by Prime Minister Modi?
I want to share two messages. First of all, there's many Indian citizens in Israel right now. It's very important that they will listen to the news and to the authorities, that they will stay home or stay close to where they need to be, to shelters, safe rooms. Be very aware of the news. Always check the application, put the application on the phone. It's in English. They can see the relevant information that is specific to where they are. It saves life. And I call all Indian citizens to follow the instruction from our security forces. It's very, very important. So that's one thing. The other thing I want to say to my friends in India, I know I got many phone calls of people that are worried about us, that think that this is the end of Israel, that we won't overcome this. And I want to tell all of them that Israel is strong and united. And we are very similar to Indians in this matter. And it will be hard days now, but we will face them bravely. And I want them all to be encouraged that we are here, we are fighting for our country, and we will win.
You're fighting for your country and you will win. Ma'am, would you be able to tell us if all Indians in Israel are safe currently? As you can imagine, there is a lot of concern back home here in India.
Yeah, as far as I know, Indian citizens are safe. Of course, as everyone else, they need to be listening to the instructions. But as long as they will follow the instruction, they will stay safe and they are very well protected.
Okay. Finally, ma'am, former Prime Minister Yair Lapid has said right now nobody cares about politics. Perhaps Prime Minister Netanyahu should put together an emergency government to respond to this crisis. Do you think that's a possibility at all?
Yeah, that's it's a possibility. I think it's being discussed as we speak now. We should see in the next few hours.
It's a possibility, and we could see an outcome of that in the next few hours. Final question, ma'am, before we let you go. Um, it's been 3 days now. How do you see things panning out over the next few days? How worrying is the situation at the moment?
We are going for a long war now. It won't. It's not something that will end in few days. We will retaliate. We need to bring back our citizens. We need to make sure that inside Israel we don't have any more terrorists, that no one invades our borders anymore. And all of that will take time. It will be hard few days or even weeks.
Who knows how long this will take? But Ambassador Maya Kadosh, thank you so much for your time. This is a very difficult time for all of you, and I can tell you that our thoughts and prayers are with the people of Israel right now.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.